All right. So in a previous post I made, I talked about how me and my mother had a conversation about her childhood, and she told me that she can remember having to sit in the back of the bus and having to, as a child, having to sit in certain area in the balcony of a movie theater and having to drink from another from a specified water fountain, the colored only water fountain, and sitting in the colored section of the back of the bus. And in a post, probably I think previous to that, I said that I thought my generation could be the ones to end racism. Boy, was I wrong. And I got to thinking about it, and I got to doing the math. So let's say, for the sake of argument, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 ended discrimination. Just for the sake of argument, ended legalized discrimination. That's just a mere 56 years ago, And everybody in my graduating high school class is mid 40s, between 43 and 46. I'll say it like that. So every 43 to 46-year-old is one generation removed from the Civil Rights Act of 1964, because that was about the time our parents were teenagers, and in that, sitting at the counters, the peaceful protests, getting the water hoses put on them and getting the German shepherds put on them. When they would sit at the diners, at the counters, at the diners, they get milkshakes or whatever poured all over them. Mind you, this is peaceful protest, right? So when you say, how come they can't be peaceful? Well, this is what you did when they were peaceful. But that's something else. I did the math. That's just a mere 56 years ago. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 happened 56 years ago. So, to me, no, it wasn't feasible that my generation could end racism. 56 years ago, the Klan was still strong. My generation are descendants of the Klan, whatever white supremacist groups that there were, And I started thinking about that, and I'm thinking, dang, we could end it, but we haven't. Because I know for a fact that racism is still being taught by my group, by people I went to high school with. That's the crazy part. These are people that knew me, and I guess I was one of the good ones. I wasn't like the rest of them. And another thing, when people tell me I talk like a white boy, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So as a black man, I'm supposed to sound ignorant? I'm supposed to sound uneducated and stupid? No, I don't talk like a white boy. I talk like I have some sense. I know how to enunciate. I'm somewhat intelligent, contrary to popular belief. Anyway, that's not even the point I was trying to make. But going back to my original point, there's people that I went to high school with, graduated with, that are teaching their sons and daughters to hate, purely based on someone's skin color. And who's going to really go against their mom, their dad, and say, no, mom, dad, you're wrong? And so I'm looking at these kids now. My eldest is getting ready to be 19. My youngest is getting ready to be 18. Or my middle child is going to be 18. And my youngest is 10. And I'm pretty sure at some point in their development, I've said to them, hey, be careful who you align yourself with. You can't trust everybody. And I'm pretty sure I've said that when it comes to white people, and when it comes to black people, and when it comes to Latins and Asians and yada yada. I was taught, you know, pretty much be careful who you associate yourself with. You know, there's knuckleheads. Knuckleheads come in all colors. We know that. Ignorance comes in all colors. We know that. Hatred comes in all colors. We know that. But if we took the time to really just got to know one another, just like the kid in high school took the time to got to know me, that I was one of the good ones. Well, we're all good and we're all bad. You know, there's nobody that's perfect. I have my faults, you have your faults. Nobody, the only person that's perfect that ever to walk this earth was Jesus Christ. And in that, he even got mad and tore up his own stuff. He tore up a temple because the people were gambling in the temple, making a mockery of the faith or what have you. Anyway, going back to my original point. So what this kid is teaching, this guy is teaching his kid who's 18, 19, 20 now. So what is this kid going to teach his kid? You got to watch out for them because, they're lazy. Or they're all criminals or they're animals. People tend to forget that at one point in time, black people were looked upon as property. I hear a lot of talk about immigrants, and let's not forget, the Irish wasn't too welcome over here in the States either. Italians, Asians, we were the imports. We were the imports. I don't remember hearing stories about too many Africans immigrating over to the United States. But anyway, so no, what is the next generation being taught? I pray that my son's generation, my children's generation, are the ones to eliminate racism and eliminate the hate. And then with some images that I saw, that the kids are doing the George Floyd challenge, where they're posting pictures of somebody with their knee on their neck. So that's going to be a bust. Like, really, what are we teaching our kids at home? This stuff, almost cursed, Lynette, I'm sorry. This stuff starts at home. It really starts at home. And I'm trying to think who really has the guts to tell their kids, hey, look, this isn't the way to go. We're not going to hate anybody based on the color of their skin. And we're going to judge everybody on the content of their character. And even then, all these so-called Christians, all you so-called Christians, doesn't the Bible teach to entreat the fellow man as a brother? How can you love God when you've never seen him and not love your brother who you see every day? Maybe I'm too deep in the Bible for some Christians. I don't know. But I know it says that somewhere in the Bible. I'm almost positive. All my Bible thumpers, correct me if I'm wrong. So let's get to doing that, and let's teach our kids not to be so judgmental, among other things. And maybe they'll teach their kids, our grandkids, that hatred based upon skin color is wrong, or hatred based upon religious beliefs is wrong. And maybe our grandkids will teach our great grandkids. And maybe there'll be a better society 3-4 generations down the road instead of this stuff that's going on now, because this stuff right now is out. This is freaking ridiculous. And it's almost like the civil rights movement of the 60s. Instead of fire hoses and German shepherds, it's chokeholds and tasers and murder. Just something to think about. I'll probably be doing another part to this. Something to think about.